Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest edition of Wow, Lynch, Wow, dedicated to filmmaker David Lynch and inspired by the triumphant return of Twin Peaks. A friendly warning to everyone who isn't caught up on all 6 episodes of the new season of Twin Peaks. There will be spoilers, and they will begin in just a moment, so viewers and listeners be warned. When will Dougie become the real Agent Cooper? That's become the number one question for fans of the new Twin Peaks. So far, we know that Cooper's memories are mostly missing, but we do know that at least some of them are still in there somewhere. Coffee. Coffee was the first word he immediately recognized upon hearing. He instantly made a positive association between the word coffee and pleasure. He also seemed to recognize the words agent and case files. He was mesmerized by a statue where he showed particular interest in the gun and the shoes, and he was also mesmerized by the police officer's shiny badge. All of these things seemed to trigger some memory of his affiliation with law enforcement. Beyond that, we know that his instincts are basically still intact. He could recognize the difference between good and bad, and he has an emotional connection with several characters, Sonny Jim chief among them. We also know that he still has an uncanny ability to identify when someone is lying, such as when he called out Tony in the big conference meeting.
He's lying.
You're lying.
He's lying.
You're lying.
So lying is another word that Cooper recognized. And I think this was the only word he used that he didn't hear someone else use first and later repeat. We've also gotten some cryptic messages from One-Armed Mike. The first time he relayed a message to Cooper, he said, "You were tricked." Then he showed him the mysterious gold pearl before saying, "Now one of you must die." The next cryptic message to Coop, he said, "You have to wake up. Wake up. Don't die. Don't die. Don't die." So we could assume that the mysterious gold pearl left behind by the real Dougie is somehow tied into Cooper being tricked. This leads you to believe that Cooper needs the essence of this gold pearl in order to return to form. But then on the other hand, Mike also seemed to suggest that Cooper could simply snap out of this at any random moment. So which is it? Does he need to retrieve something that he was tricked out of? Or can he just suddenly bounce back from this without needing to replace something that's missing? However things ultimately play out, I believe that Hawk will be the one who ultimately somehow helps Coop become Coop again. Assuming that what he found in the bathroom stall was indeed the missing diary pages that Annie told Laura to write back in Fire Walk with Me, or even if it's something completely different related to Laura, I'm imagining whatever he found, this will help put Hawk on the proper path to finding Coop. So when will Hawk find Coop? And when he does, what the hell's he gonna do then? I have no idea. But whatever it is, I am definitely inclined to believe that this won't happen until after a big-time showdown at the casino. As I've mentioned before, I think something really big is inevitably going to go down at the casino, where a wide assortment of shady characters are hunting down Dougie, and I believe they will all crash the party at the exact same time. I'm imagining the casino bosses will send some ruffians after him, and that any number of other would-be assassins, including this fired-up gentleman here, I think they're all going to be ready to pounce on an unsuspecting Coop at the same time, and that all hell will break loose when this happens. I'm imagining Bill Shaker will resurface, and that Dougie Coop's incredible luck and good fortune will help him and Bill escape this impossible situation unscathed. If Cooper is going to suddenly snap out of being Dougie, I think it will be triggered by some combination of love and fear. Could this be something as simple as seeing a picture of Laura Palmer? Something else to do with Laura? We know that Cooper was upset by whatever Laura whispered to him. And we know that Cooper was absolutely horrified when he saw whatever ill fate that was that befell poor Laura. We also know Leland is terribly concerned about Laura, and that Cooper appeared to share his concern. Laura Palmer is a character who simply exudes fear and love. I'm not sure what Laura's exact role is in all this, but I imagine it's extremely important, and that it directly ties in with Coop's fate somehow or another. Could it take an attack from a would-be assassin to snap Coop back? Or someone attacking a loved one? We haven't seen Coop in a whole lot of hand-to-hand combat, but based on what we saw against the woman at One-Eyed Jack's, we could probably assume that he's a capable fighter. We also know he has strong instincts to protect others. More recently, we actually saw him assume a fighting stance when he became mesmerized by the poster of the Big Boss back in his younger days when he was better known as Battling Bud Mullins. So Coop seems to recognize the idea of fighting and serving and protecting. So in reality, we already have the real Cooper in a very real sense. Instinctually, spiritually, and intuitively, this is the same basic identity blueprint. He just lacks the memories and the experience. He is, in effect, a young boy Cooper trapped inside his older body. This is why he's fascinated by things like the statue and the shiny badge. He wants to serve and protect. That's who he is, and that's who he was, and that's who I'd like to believe he'll always be. For this reason, when Dougie does become the real Agent Cooper, I don't think he would ever abandon Janie E. or Sonny Jim. Janie E. will probably have a very difficult time understanding that Dougie is really this other guy who was an FBI agent in a former life. It will certainly be interesting to see that conversation when the moment happens, but I think Janie E. and Sonny Jim are in this for the long haul. So long as neither of them suffers an ill fate, which also seems like a strong possibility. But if Cooper can't just snap out of being Dougie, I think the key would then clearly point in the direction of having something to do with the gold pearl. And if I had to venture a guess as to how he might come across that, I'd like to believe it has something to do with Philip Gerard, the version who points without chemicals, because his voice is simply too awesome for this character not to resurface. At the end of the day, I have no idea when Dougie will become the real Agent Cooper. But my final prediction on this for now is that when we do find out, it will be a cliffhanger ending, and we clearly recognize them as coming from the real Coop. Lynch and Frost may view this as an 18-hour movie, and that's cool. I totally dig that. But don't let them fool you. They are very aware of the episodic nature of television, and except for the most recent Part 6, the other parts all ended in cliffhanger endings. Coop's first words will end on a cliffhanger, and I for one can't wait to discover what those first words are. So when and how do you think Dougie will become the real Agent Cooper? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great night, everyone.